In this video, I want to address the question of what is the best format for my UX portfolio? I am asked that question all the time, and I'm guessing that you've probably asked yourself at least once or twice, probably even Googled it a bunch of times. Now, there's 3 formats for your UX portfolio, and in this video, I'm going to explain the pros and cons of each of them. Now, in case we haven't met yet, let me just introduce myself. My name is Sarah Doody, and I'm a user experience designer and entrepreneur. And I also founded the program UX Portfolio Formula, which helps UX professionals of all stages and types of designers, researchers, etc., figure out how to present their work, create a portfolio, write amazing case studies, and really be prepared for the UX job search and job interview process. Now, you have a lot of options for your UX portfolio's format. However, before we get into those, I want to address one big problem, and that's the problem of when you fail to really think through why you're choosing a certain format, you may run into problems down the line. For example, if you choose the wrong format, maybe it will take you a lot longer than you think to create it. Or maybe you won't be able to easily tailor your portfolio for each role because that's hard with the format that you selected for your portfolio. Or maybe even you just simply won't be prepared for job interviews because you'll think to yourself, what am I going to use when I get to the in-person interview or in-person presentation of a couple of my projects? So let's jump over to the 3 different types of formats that you have to choose from. Okay, so in my mind, there's really 3 formats for your UX portfolio. The first is something that's web-based, a website that you have on your own domain. Maybe you code that on your own, which I don't recommend, or maybe you use something like Squarespace, WordPress, Wix, etc. The second option is to create a PDF document. Now, to create that, honestly, just do that in whatever format you can work fastest in, whether that's Sketch, Illustrator, something else, Keynote even. Finally, the third format is hosting your portfolio on some type of platform. And by that, I mean Dribbble, Behance, Adobe Portfolio, or one of the many other places. Now, I want to tell you some pros and cons of each of these formats. But first, it's really important that you remember this. You really should not rush to create your portfolio until you consider the entire interview process. Because when you consider the full process, that's going to make you think through some really crucial decision points that could impact what format is best for you. So, before you decide on the format of your portfolio, I really recommend that you consider these questions. And these questions came about through the literally hundreds of one-on-one phone calls, video chats, reviews that I've done with students who were considering my programs, UX Portfolio Formula, or people that I interviewed before I ever created the program, because I truly wanted to understand people's problems and past experiences in creating their portfolio. So the first question that you should ask yourself is, how easily will I be able to tailor my portfolio to each role with this platform or format? For example, ideally, you are tailoring your portfolio to every single role you apply to, meaning maybe you have 5 projects that you could include, but 3 of them really suit the job you're applying to, and the other 2 don't really relate to it. Then don't include those other 2. Or maybe you want to rearrange the order of projects because you want to put the most relevant one first. Well, that's a lot easier to do in a PDF than it is to do on, say, a website or a portfolio platform. And I have some examples I'm going to show you as well. Next question, what are the associated costs with this? Have you calculated out how much it will actually cost you to have your website on, say, a platform or to host it on your own domain, something like that? Third, how fast can I use that tool, medium, etc. that is needed to make your portfolio in that format? For example, so many people come to me and say, My portfolio is not finished yet because I decided to hand code it, to take this opportunity to learn how to code. And then they say, and it's taken me 6 months and I'm still not done, sometimes longer. The problem is that they selected a format website that was going to inhibit their ability to finish it fast. So if you think your portfolio is a chance to learn to code or to use WordPress for the first time or learn Squarespace or something, just think to yourself, how fast can I work in that tool? And if the answer is slow, then consider maybe you should make that in Keynote or PowerPoint or something else that you can work really fast in. The fourth question is, will I be able to use my portfolio for other things in the interview process? For example, if your portfolio is a website, that's great for the initial stages of an interview, but if it gets to the point where you're being called in for in-person interviews to present projects, are you going to roll into the interview and bring up your website in a browser? Or if your website is on Behance or Dribbble, are you going to roll into the interview and pull up your Behance page? I don't know, maybe that's worked for you. To me, it seems a little awkward, and there's some other risks as well that we'll get into. The next question to really ask is, how easy is it to maintain? If you want to make quick changes, is that going to require that you hire a developer? Or can you go in and make those changes really, really fast? There's probably tons of other questions that you could ask yourself. Those are the big ones that stand out to me. But next, I want to go into some examples so you can truly see some of the pros and cons for each of the formats, either a website, a PDF, or hosting your work on a platform. So first, let's look at a website. Okay, so here we are on the website of Jacqueline. She is a user experience designer. She was actually one of my students, and she decided to create her own website, jacquelinegunton.design. So we're on Jacqueline's website here, and we can quickly read the top to get a sense of who she is. UX designer who crafts experiences that are relevant, inclusive, and meaningful to people. She's looking for her next opportunity in Toronto. Okay, great. So if I'm in Houston, Jacqueline probably won't be able to work for me. Now, as we scroll down, we get to see some of her projects. Great. Then we can click into them and, we get to meet kind of Jacqueline and hop over to her About page. Now, I'm not going to click into any of Jacqueline's projects, but I want to run through a couple of pros and cons. I wrote them down on my phone so I don't forget them. That's why I'm kind of looking down. But I want to roll into some pros and cons for the website. So to me, some of the pros and cons are that if I am a hiring manager or a recruiter or something and I'm Googling Jacqueline Gunton, probably some social media things will come up, her LinkedIn will come up, and her website might come up. So it's great for what I call findability. As people are Googling you, giving them a professional place to land. Now, of course, they might go look at your Twitter or your YouTube or Facebook or something like that, but having a place for people to land when they search for you is one big pro that I see to having your website. Now, it doesn't mean that if you also have a PDF, you need to have your case study in its entirety on your website and in a PDF, which I think is kind of duplicate, but at minimum, I would say have some type of home base for yourself online. In Jacqueline's case, she has full case studies down here, which we can click into. But first, findability. Second, when I'm on Jacqueline's website, guess what? I'm kind of locked into the world of Jacqueline. I can't go navigate. If we were on Behance, which we'll see in a second, or Dribbble or something, I can't go search, in a search box up here for other UX designers or things like that. I have limited navigation and I'm in only things related to Jacqueline because I'm on her website. So to me, it's a great way to kind of fence in your user, if you will. So there's less risk that they're going to jump over and check out someone else's website portfolio if you're on, Dribbble and Behance or something. And you'll see that in a moment. Next, some risks here though. If Jacqueline only has a website, my concern is that, well, if she gets to an interview, is she going to pull up her website and present that? Maybe that would work. I think it's weird. That's why I think a PDF is great, because You can use it in the beginning stages of interviews, but also you can then present that in a full interview. What if the Wi-Fi is down and your website doesn't work when you get to do the in-person presentation? Or what if your website is down and people are looking at your application and they click the link to your website and, they can't access it? Well, guess what? They're not going to make a mental note to come back to your site in, 5 minutes. They're probably going to skip on to the next person. Also, some of the other concerns and risks that you have to consider is your website compatible on different browsers? Is it responsive, etc.? This is especially tricky if you decide for some weird reason, in my opinion, to code your own website. I think website is great as an initial home base to give people a sense of who you are through a strong About Me page and a preview of some of your work. But I think to have only a website is risky, because if you think further down the interview process, well, what are you going to present? And like I said, what if there's no Wi-Fi? What if your website is down? Things that are out of your control. Now, if we imagine a PDF situation, let's jump over to someone's PDF. So I have someone's PDF pulled up here, a guy named Simon. We're not going to go through Simon's entire PDF, but I want to highlight a few things. So one of the really big pros with a PDF is that I think it's quite easy to customize. So you can imagine if Simon was applying to a company and a couple of his projects didn't apply. Well, guess what? He can just come in and delete, these pages from his portfolio and send them that updated version, because the remaining projects are a lot more relevant. Whereas if we go back to Jacqueline's website, if she wanted to try and customize her portfolio based on the roles she's applying to, she has 2 projects here. Imagine she had 5. In order to hide them and show them for different users, that gets really complicated. She probably has to create logins and things like that. Whereas if Simon wants to customize his portfolio, he made this in Keynote, so he could just make a different version in Keynote and delete projects that aren't relevant. Or maybe he wants to reorder projects so that one of the more relevant ones is first. So the ability to tailor your portfolio is a lot easier when it is a PDF, in my opinion. Other benefits to having the PDF, just so I don't miss anything, well, obviously it's a PDF. So you don't have those risks of, what if the Wi-Fi's down? What if it doesn't work on mobile? What if the browser is freaking out or something like that? All of those risks are totally eliminated. Another benefit with a PDF, I think, is that if you have a website, you might be worried about including certain projects because maybe you don't want those public for non-disclosure reasons, privacy reasons, etc., which is understandable. With a PDF, maybe your employer or your client is comfortable showing your work in the PDF, but not on a website because they don't want it searchable. But in a PDF, it's more just being emailed around. So for their NDA reasons, they can kind of give you the green light to put it in PDF. So NDAs are another reason why maybe a PDF is a better option for you. Honestly, the only negative or con that I can think of concerning having it as PDF is maybe file size. Okay, so you won't be able to email it. To me, that's not the end of the world. Just give them a link to Dropbox or Google Drive or something like that, and problem solved. Now, the third option that you have is to do your portfolio on a platform. So let's go over and look at a platform. I have a couple pulled up here. So these are random. I don't have a clue who these people are. I just did a search and found a couple of UX portfolios. So this is a portfolio of a guy from, I think he's from Paris. Yeah. So when we come to his page, imagine, he's applied for a job to work for me, and I click the link and I come here. Now, some of the concerns that I have with platforms is that unlike a website where my options are only limited to the navigation on that website, look at where we are right now. I have so many options to go away from this person's portfolio. If I come up here, shots, oh, what's designers? Oh, what's community? What's jobs? I have all of this top real estate to basically take me away or distract me from going through this person's actual work. So problem number one with a platform is that I no longer am kind of corralled into just looking at Jacqueline's projects, her about, and her contact. Because on these platforms, I have all these other opportunities to click away, which to me is a massive, massive risk. I don't know if I click these. Yep, if I clicked these, guess what? I'm immediately going away from this person's profile to see other people's profiles that do branding, that do product design, etc. And if you are sending this to recruiters and hiring managers, that is a massive risk. Now, let's see. If we click in to one of these, which I clicked into over here, just so we don't have to wait for it to load. Okay, so I see the project here. He's made some animated GIF of a homepage or something like that. I scroll down here, and to me, part of the challenge with portfolio platforms is that they're not always designed to allow me to include my process. So great, we see the final product, this homepage. That's nice, but all this person has to work with in order to tell me the story of this specific project is a bunch of text here, right? They can't show me, like if I wanted to include sketches and I wanted to see wireframes and things, I don't think that they can include that in whatever this field is. So a lot of times you are limited with these platform sites because they are designed to allow you to be focusing on kind of one visual and the text. Now, of course, in this visual here that he uploaded, he could have the visual be like really, really, really tall and show all of the steps and the visuals and things like that. But to me, I just really struggled with seeing the value of a portfolio platform, etc., because of, number one, your inability to truly show the process because they're so deliverable focused. When you think about it, some of these platforms initially were created to show like one snapshot, not your entire process. And then second risk, and this is true of Behance too. I'm not, pointing fingers at Dribble, but even if I came to this guy's profile on Behance, same thing. Sure, I'm on his profile, but I can go, search, browse jobs, go discover, and instantly go away from his work. So if I don't like what I see initially, guess what? I'm gonna just click up here and do a search or come over here. So those are kind of the three formats that I see that you can choose for your portfolio. You can, let's go back, website, PDF, platform. So what is the best combination? If it were me, I would have a website to solve the problem of when people Google you, you want something to come up, hopefully other than your LinkedIn or your Facebook or something. So I think I would have a website similar to Jacqueline, where you can include some of your work. And maybe if it were me, I would have a website like this with some type of about me or what I call compass statement at the top, some of the work I'm proud of. And instead of saying click over to view the case study, you could just have your website be one page, about me, some of my work, and then at the bottom, the call to action could be, if you want to see these projects in detail, contact me for my portfolio or something like that. And then what I would do is I would have a PDF that shows all the details, steps, etc. of each project, because I can easily tailor it, I can easily customize it, I don't have to worry about Wi-Fi and browsers and things like that. And then, to me, I'm also using this PDF as both my portfolio and the thing I present in interviews. So I don't have to have like double the work to create a detailed website and a detailed portfolio as a PDF. So I hope that this has given you some clarity as to the pro cons for each format of your portfolio. And now you can kind of think through and get beyond this rush of, oh my goodness, I need to finish a portfolio, and think to yourself, okay, how can this portfolio also serve me in interviews? And can I customize my portfolio if it's on Dribbble or Behance or a website? Maybe you've realized this is not the time to learn to code to make my website. But if this has been helpful to you, let me know in the comments below. And also, feel free to ask any additional questions you have about the format for your portfolio. I also am going to leave a couple of links to different portfolio templates that I have created that will definitely help you speed up the time it's going to take you to create your portfolio. And that is all for today concerning portfolios. But if you want to learn more, check out the other playlist that is linked with probably 10 videos related to UX job interviews, how to navigate the job search, how to write a case study, how to tell the story of a project, and a ton more. Thank you, and good luck with the rest of whatever you are working on related to your UX career.